Welcome, YouTube. This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review Justin Bieber's remix album from early 2011, Never Say Never, the Remixes. Now, this was an accompaniment to Justin Bieber's Never Say Never movie, which came out in early 2011. And then this was kind of like a stopgap release between My World 2.0, which came out in early 2010, until he eventually was going to work on Believe from mid 2012. But that's kind of the concept, where Believe was kind of more club oriented and dance club oriented, and kind of showed the progression as far as Justin Bieber, what he made when he turned 18 and such. I kind of feel like this is kind of the in between kind of stage, where My World 2.0 is kind of more in like the mall oriented and strip mall and shopping mall type oriented type stuff, as far as like, going places, buying clothes, is kind of more in like the food courts and those type places where you'd hear that sort of music. But I kind of feel like this is pretty much like the last bit of taste of the My World 2.0 Justin Bieber. Like, it's been a while since I've listened to Believe, but I want to say that that one was kind of more similar to Chris Brown type stuff, and a lot more kind of EDM and dance club oriented and that type stuff. I mean, there's a lot of EDM going on in 2012, but I kind of feel like with this project, I mean, there's only two new songs on this project, but it kind of feels very similar to the vibes that Justin Bieber had in My World 2.0. So this is kind of the context, again, that last burst of that particular Justin Bieber. But I would have to say it's interesting just because I appreciated the angle from which it was. Now, the unfortunate thing about this project is just the fact that the remixes are new, but they're only new for the sake of the artist that contributes a new verse to it. Justin Bieber's part of the song is basically the same as the songs that were on My World 2.0, but I do kind of feel like I do like the additions of Rascal Flatts and Chris Brown and Usher and Kanye West, and even Raekwon is on here. Miley Cyrus is on here too, and Jaden Smith. So there's some new ones on here, kind of some interesting amalgamations, and some ones that are pretty hot to trot. And I definitely like the concept of some of these, but I would have liked to see if Justin Bieber could have created some new melodies to see what he could have done. But it doesn't. Not to say that this project is bad, but I look after that's something to kind of realize is the Justin Bieber half of this is kind of not as much new. So, but I do have to say, in terms of the single on this project, so the new song on here is Never Say Never with Jaden Smith, and the new song on here is Never Say Never with Jaden Smith, and this is basically on the Karate Kid soundtrack. But like I said, this is one of the last tastes of like up tempo, kind of more shopping mall, strip mall kind of Justin Bieber, some of that type stuff. Or I kind of feel like the light tinge of this is kind of interesting about this song, just because this song is kind of more in kind of like a mild dance club sense. It kind of gives off that kind of vibe where it kind of feels like a go-go setting, like a more social outing kind of setting, some place where there'd be a little bit more flashiness towards it, but it's still not quite like rave dance club type music, but it's kind of like the transition towards such a thing. And it was interesting to kind of get that, just because really Justin Bieber is not the youngest person on the song. So he was kind of the new kid. He was kind of the new kid on the block just a year before, but now it's kind of Jaden Smith who's kind of the new kid on there. It's interesting just because Jaden Smith was only like 12, going on 13 when he popped up on this song. So this kind of happens to be the concept about it, and he did well on this song. It's really interesting. I don't feel like, because there's basically two tweens and teenagers on the song, that it's not something that could be played at like a dance club for older sets. I do feel like I mean, it's basically just like a clean version of like a club song, just a more kind of, maybe not so much PG, but just kind of lighter, more light, just a lighter toned kind of club song in that sort of sense. But it's cool enough of a song to be able to say that it works just within its tinge of being able to do it. So it's just kind of, Never Say Never is very factory made, just like songs like Somebody to Love and Eeny Meeny from My World 2.0, but it's more pronounced than Eeny Meeny, but it's kind of in the same vein as Somebody to Love, same rooted type of song, just more less shopping mall oriented, and kind of more gives me vibes of like a mild dance club. I can kind of see it almost being played in such a thing. But yeah, so that's kind of the concept. I did appreciate that. I would have liked another song or two and a taste of like what these songs could have turned out as, because I kind of like the concept of getting the kind of in between fashion of Justin Bieber between My World 2.0 and Believe. It's kind of an interesting transition for Justin Bieber to kind of wonder how that was supposed to go, because by the time Believe came out, he was kind of doing like the dance club and rave type numbers, and he was kind of a light, like a he was kind of like a lighter tone of Chris Brown around that time, and not to say in terms of quality, but just in terms of him being 18 when Chris Brown was 22, 23 around that time. So it's just kind of entry to like R&B, dance pop, that type stuff. But Justin Bieber was not quite there yet on My World 2.0 and even this project Never Say Never. So it's just interesting getting that one song Never Say Never, as far as trying to say that I would have liked another one or two songs like this just to kind of gotten that extra kind of taste of what Justin Bieber was up to. And even Jaden Smith was good on the song. So yeah, but there's 7 songs on this project. I'll go ahead and recommend the 4 songs out of 7 that I recommend to you. So they would be Never Say Never, Somebody to Love Remix, Up Remix, Runaway Love Remix. So basically, to talk about some of these, I felt like Runaway Love was a nice concoction of like a dance club type song. I mean, originally it kind of reminded me of a mall song back on My World 2.0, but adding Raekwon and Kanye West on here was a really stylish move, just because these are both kind of quality lyricists, and they turned it into like a mild dance club bop. This is probably about the most dance club oriented and pop oriented I've seen Raekwon on pretty much ever. This is about one of his most commercial songs, I would have to say, and he did well on there. It's great seeing a quality lyricist like Raekwon on a song like this. Definitely worked extremely well for him. And Kanye West, he's right at home on these type songs. This was kind of another stock Kanye West song. I also liked Up with Chris Brown on there. This is kind of more of a slow jam, kind of mild bedroom boom type song, but I kind of like Chris Brown. He was a natural fit for this song. They kind of gave it that R&B type flavor, just to kind of say, I know there were more songs like this on Believe from the next year, but this is kind of interesting, kind of get them both on there. Chris Brown did a nice job, and so did Justin Bieber, despite the fact it was the same verse. So this is kind of the situation. That's a nice R&B flavored one. And then Somebody to Love remix with Usher's a nice touch also. This one feels just like a strip mall kind of buying, shopping for clothes, going out and shopping, running errands type song that you would hear. But Usher's on here, and I think in some cases it would feel more of like as an Usher song if you started off hearing the song with. This would kind of feel like an Usher song if you heard this song starting where Usher's verse came on. That's kind of the interesting thing about it, is it just sounds like another stock Usher song. Feels like some of the stuff that he dropped in 2010 and 2011. Some of the songs, I can't remember them at this point, like OMG and like the song he did with Pitbull, those type songs. I mean, it's just another quality Usher song from around that time, from like those days of Usher, and it kind of works for Justin Bieber on there because it's just a great single. I feel like Somebody to Love is just a great single. It's an easy kind of chartable hit that had a lot of fashion towards it, so it's good to kind of get this as far as like another shopping mall number, just adding Usher to the mix and kind of seeing how well that he has chemistry with it and amalgamates with it really well. So it's pretty good to kind of get that. With the 3 songs I didn't enjoy, the Rascal Flatts song, the Miley Cyrus song, and then Born to Be Somebody, all of these kind of have like a more kind of like more makeshift and kind of all of these 3 songs, That Should Be Me, Overboard, and Born to Be Somebody, all kind of have a more composed and more kind of wholesome type feel towards it, more makeshift, and where the energy is just different. Whereas the 4 songs I recommended to you all kind of had like a more uppity and kind of like social type vibe to them, stepping out kind of vibe and that type of stuff. These are a lot more kind of inward thinking and kind of this kind of less social and more kind of straightforward and day-to-day type vibes about them, I just would have to say. uh like Born to Be Somebody is another new song on here, but it kind of was not, in my opinion, it didn't come off as interesting as Never Say Never, where Never Say Never had a lot of kind of paced energy, and Never Say Never had a lot more paced energy, kind of felt more electric and alive, and kind of was a lot more dance club oriented. Born to Be Somebody is this kind of more sit around and, just kind of felt more homely and that type of stuff. I know it's interesting for Justin Bieber to be able to do it from age 16, 17, to kind of have those type songs as far as that's kind of concerned, but it really just does not have a lot of potential interest towards it as far as trying to think as to where you'd listen to some of these, because in some cases I feel like they don't even have like the romantic vibe about them that they did last time, where these just kind of feel like just kind of sit around in the house and just read a book almost type vibe about them. And it's not to say there's anything wrong with that particular vibe, but it just does not have a too terribly kinetic energy about it. But I'm gonna give this album, me liking 4 out of 7 songs. I'm gonna give this project a 6 out of 10. I mean, like I said, some of the things that I kind of digress about as far as talking about the problems I had with it was just the fact that Never Say Never was such a quality song. I definitely felt like the electricity that that song kind of had. I really feel like there probably should have been at least 1 or 2 other songs. I mean, My World 2.0 had 10 songs, but this kind of felt like almost barely like an EP's worth of songs, and really just the only true new stuff about these projects were just the verses from the remix singers on here. So I either would have liked another verse from Justin Bieber or something that could have made his energy on the song, just to see some new melodies that he could have come up with, or kind of having a couple extra songs. It really felt like, I mean, it was a decent shot in the arm in terms of getting an extra taste of Justin Bieber, but I don't think it would have been that much of a deal to throw in another song or two on here. I think possibly if it had been 9 songs, 2 homely songs, 2 shopping mall club bop type songs, kind of showing the growth that Justin Bieber had as far as advancing as like a contemporary pop musician and R&B musician. It was interesting. I definitely feel like his evolution as far as advancing as like a dance music artist was pretty interesting to see that, and kind of Never Say Never, but it's just so short and sweet that we only get to see this growth in this one song. I mean, going from My World 2.0 to Believe later, where he was like a festive and just completely gigantic dance club artist in Believe album, but we just didn't get to see the transition that much. That's kind of the concept. I would have liked another song to have been able to see that. It's kind of like when Eminem jumps 3 years between his albums, or 50 Cent jumps a few years between his albums. It's just kind of, you wonder what they do on their off years, and this was 2011 was kind of one of Justin Bieber's off years, but we didn't really get the taste of what that was like that much. That's kind of the thing. But yeah, so that's basically the concept. 1 homely song, 1 dance-oriented song, and that's kind of the concept there. So 6 out of 10. The social score, I'll go ahead and give like a 6 out of 10 also, just because these new songs do breathe some new life into it. Usher, Chris Brown, Kanye West, Raekwon, they have some nice oriented type stuff to make these songs basically, in some cases, a mild dance club song, and in other cases, like some pretty lively and electric shopping mall music, but it just does not really get the new contributions. Does not really get the new contributions from Justin Bieber, which is kind of a disappointment, just because he's the star of the project. So it's good, but Justin Bieber is kind of light on this project, which is too bad, because you wondered how much he was changing around this time and stuff. So 6 social. Can this record be topped? I think so. I think it could probably had like another song or two that would have really bolstered it even further. And I just would have to say, so in terms of the future, Justin Bieber has been gone since early 2021 with Justice, and he had kind of a problem. He had some health concerns back in 2022 and such, and maybe it was in 2021 also. But I think he's been recovering with that. So hopefully we get him back in the swing of things once he does recover and kind of get some new music. Because I did like Changes from 2020, and I kind of like Justice, but I just want to see how some more of these are going to turn out in terms of the context of what they actually kind of have to happen. But I am going to review more Justin Bieber down the road. We're going to get to some more of these. So